Sigma, but it was actually, funny enough, Myztro that kept them at bay, and Myztro qualified instead of them. There's a little bit of a roster swap right now. Vu is currently not playing on the Sacrifice roster for this tournament. FaZe has that role as the Anarchy, but at the same time, we also have Razy playing also, and he is a really newly picked up player by Myztro Gaming. And Razy, I mean, he's been going from strength to strength in the world of Quake Champions anyway.
It's also very scary because you've got Hell on Slash, which is always dangerous because he's been playing Slash for a long time.
And Hell, his history comes from Quake 4 as well, right? So that Quake 4 champion on the Quake 4 player, it's always going to be quite a nice little recipe.
But also, FaZe on Anarchy is great because having a good Anarchy is always important. Razy on that Sorlag, when Sorlag has always been kind of Razy's premier champion, and Sorlag being such an important part of Sacrifice as a whole, especially on Lockbox, which is going to be our first map. But also the interesting thing here, Garpy on Doomslayer. So Garpy last week played a different champion on every single map, but he'd play the same champion for that map, if you know what I mean.
It was a consistent pick.
Every time it was Lockbox, he was always going to be Galena. Every time it was, I believe, Burial Chamber, I think it was Ranger.
Ranger was his pick. And then on Ruins, it was Clutch.
But it's like, the team had, like, he was always Anarchy, Sorlag, and Slash regardless, but it was Garpy would pick a specific champion on each map for that map. Whereas this time, Lockbox going straight with Doomslayer. Doomslayer we've seen is already being quite popular in Sacrifice with certain teams. Obviously saw Rafa playing it on Liquid, and we know Rafa's been playing a lot of Doomslayer. And even just now, where Sparty's been playing Doomslayer for the last couple of weeks as well. So do you think there's a chance that Garpy has really settled on Doomslayer as being like, that is the champion he will input to the team for the whole time?
Well, potentially.
See it.
We could potentially say, I think, we'll see how this map turns out, but we really can't ignore Avengers because I know they've recently picked up Demon on their roster, but pretty much every player here, they were well-known, superbly well-known for being fantastic CTF players in Quake Live. And, there are many, many players that agree that Sacrifice, be it a new game mode, does lend itself to some CTF fundamentals. And if you're going to be used to one of those game modes, then it's going to be quite a nice history to have going into a game mode like Sacrifice.
But it's also a match of two teams, even though they're both in the losers bracket. It's two teams that we know have been playing a lot of Sacrifice over the last couple of months. Still though, Mastermind getting that first thing, trying to pop the injection, but will get stopped in his tracks. Oh, hey, was that a telefrag?
That was a telefrag.
Wow.
That was juicy. Very well executed right there, and he's going to be rewarded with a soul drop-off. That was perfect.
Demon with the absolute perfect play on this Ranger. I mean, Ranger really isn't a champion you see too much in Sacrifice nowadays, but if you've got the skill to pull off moves like that, why not? Wonderful quick shot from the hip with that railgun from Garpy. Can instantly take down Demon.
Now, he's got a lot of quad damage left to work with, and the rest of the team to follow up. Doesn't want to eat too much of that plasma trail, but still alive, but barely. May get one or two more frags. There's the tactical suicide. FaZe, nice and healthy. He'll happily take that quad damage. Here he comes in behind, tries to protect the rest of the team.
Yeah, Razy's going to probably drop this off uncontested now, thanks to the quad damage, letting FaZe just clean up the point first. There's that safe sort of escort to the point.
And now, the thing about dropping off the soul at the very end of your power-up is that that's a long time to defend, obviously without it. But if they're able to do a good job, they've got plenty of weapons left to go. They just got a nice little triple as a collective team. And they've already been able to even things off. 14% versus 40%, no more.
Well, the thing is,
climbing it up.
frags being so prominent in Sacrifice means that obviously, like, if you die as a group, you respawn together at roughly the same time. You can go in as a unit. But if you sort of die 1, 2 at a time, they just kind of trickle in piece by piece. So it can, in a way, depend on. There are better times to die than others. In that kind of situation, trading out a frag at the same time, that's not the worst, as he was able to take the soul off the point at the very least. FaZe is going to be able to take the soul away. 22 health only left, but still able to drop it back off again. And after all that, Myztro now are in the lead quite comfortably. 30% to 14.
Oh, nice.
Really nice rocket. Oh, and a follow-up too. FaZe getting a lot of kills.
Some of these players, I mean, many of these players, on the side of Avengers, they've not really been focusing too heavily on the duel. It's been, when they've been playing Quake Champions, they've been grinding the team modes because the team mode is where their bread and butter has come from, essentially, as players. So I feel like, when you get these guys and they're used to playing in these team settings, you can really see a level of comfort of being surrounded by enemies, having to worry about, more than one person at any given time, making sure you're controlling this power-up. Speaking of which,
yeah, the protection going to be up in about 5 seconds' time. To be honest, though, 5 seconds is quite a long time for Hell to be standing on this podium, but it looks like his entire team is here. And
completely unchallenged from start to finish.
Oh, it's because it looks like Avengers took the time to take the soul instead. But Demon now, being careful, he's waiting out this protection.
I wonder if he's...
I like that. Avengers, they decided to let them pick up the power-up, take the soul, and now they're hiding with the power-up near their own obelisk. This is really well played by Demon. Yeah, and he's still waiting there. That is really well played, because now he's going to capture it as soon as he knows the protection runs out. That's very smart.
And in a few seconds, the second it's disappeared, we're going to see the drop-off. That's just going to come down to good timing.
That's exactly what we saw. That was really well played by Demon, I think.
Well, it's funny enough I could just talk about awareness of the game mode and players that are specializing in team modes instead of duel or other modes in particular. That kind of is exactly why. You know, that next level knowledge, the strats.
Oh, misses the die roll this time. Very weak. Going to go down for his trouble. I was going to take him out. I was going to drop, but FaZe is still there. And FaZe, even though taking a little bit of damage, was able to get that frag thrown up. And Garpy going to clean it out.
Oh no, accidentally passes the soul at Abzo. That's going to waste a little bit of time.
But Razy having it again. Not too healthy, so could be quite at risk here potentially.
Oh wow!
The gauntlet flying in at top speed, but Abso, no, he overstepped the mark. Is he going to make him pay 100% for that?
I mean, with 80 health, it was well worth the attempt.
Not sure what Razy's waiting for here. Do you reckon he's just waiting for teammates to try and put him through?
Yeah, it could be the rest of the team maybe waiting for those health to respawn. Goes in for... That was either a reset or he tried to go for the acid, but you have to remember your ability key does share the same key as the dropper for the soul, so you do have to drop the soul before you can use your ability.
Looks like Avengers have placed themselves really well here just to not let Myztro safely put this back. FaZe looking for his moment, finds it.
Oh!
He gets a frag on Demon in the process.
Gets 2!
Wow.
Can he get 3? Is he going to be able to stop him from getting out alive? Mastermind does pick him up from behind. Now, power-up has spawned. Not a huge amount of health, but Razy's been able to finish that one. You can take a huge amount of damage in comparison to how much you can dish out. The second you've got that quad damage on deck, and Razy, I mean, his LG is phenomenal. So I'd be very worried if this guy has quad damage.
He is currently taking a lot of health though, 4 health only remaining. Demon's going to kill him there. Quad damage, but doesn't look like there's too much of it left at all. A lot of kills on the board for Avengers, so they're going to be able to take the soul. Now, can they get it back without Myztro stopping them? Like I said, all of Myztro kind of died roughly at the same time, so they are going to sort of be able to put themselves in between Avengers and the obelisk they need to capture.
As long as this kind of sticks in limbo, Myztro will continue to have the lead.
That was a nice steady frag. It looks like Avengers not trying to rush this, not trying to run it in at a bad time, really making sure it's safe first. There's that plasma trail. Probably going to capture this now? Yes, indeed. And actually, it looks like they've got a lot of their teammates here too, but as I can say that, Myztro, they're starting to pour in. 2 of them. Power-up not going to be up for a while. Currently 2 versus 3 on the point. Still, Myztro.
Wow.
Myztro winning that 2v3. Wow, didn't expect that to happen. And Garpy was going to die to the damage over time, but was able to pass the soul over to Hell, who does have a plasma trail in a few seconds' time, but might not even need it.
There's only one person lying in wait, so this should be a safe drop, especially if that rail's going to fail to connect. Demon tries to go for the Hail Mary telefrag as well, and it fails to connect. The drop-off once again is successful. Razy with the clean double. Mastermind is soon to fall as well. And now Myztro only have 25% left to climb.
A much stronger sequence, though, coming out from Myztro, and now they're hit and Force again trying to defend, and Avengers, Demon's going to get one of those rockets, and he's still trying to fight, but very weak was there. Razy's going to finish him off with a little bit of acid. Phoenix and Demon getting a couple of frags, though, so the soul has been stolen away.
That's very unfortunate. You know, in some ways, kind of almost fumbling that rocket boost, not going as fast as he probably wanted to, but that was a nice little sequence from Avengers. Huge amount of frags, and they've been able to control the power-up. And I think actually the power-up, the protection going on to Ranger is sublime, because the self-damage he takes less of anyway. Those rockets do like 2 damage to it. Like, why does he need to care about that?
It's going to be really hard to fight in point blank now, because he's going to have to not worry at all about just shooting his own feet with rockets, because he's basically going to tickle himself. And if you're right up close, especially if you're going for this gauntlet kill that we're seeing the kind of Hell's going for, even then, like the Demon point blank there, just laughing it off, does not have to worry.
You actually wonder why he bet everything on that regular machine gun instead of swapping to other weapons. I wonder if he was trying to go for consistent damage instead of the potential of missing those rails and having no payout whatsoever, but...
Oh, Garpy punching Mastermind into oblivion, apparently. Phoenix has managed to take the soul, but wasn't able to go through the archway in time. Hell, able to intercept. The plasma trail is ready to go, but still... Oh, that rail actually would have killed him. It's a shame it did miss.
Nice amount of unchallenged LG. He's never going to go down because he's going to take that ticking damage.
Being able to take that frag first and take out Mastermind in the process meant that even though he did die in the process, he was able to hold on to the point a few seconds longer and keep that percentage raising. And now Myztro find themselves seconds away from winning the map. This is a good one. Garpy getting a nice double with that rocket launcher. Myztro probably taking the first round off of that.
If these two frags go down when it looks like they will, this could very well be the round. Abzo falls, and it's going to be 100% versus 61. I feel like the Myztro boys, it's just a level of coordination they've had together. You know, these guys have been playing, particularly Garpy and Hell, they've been playing together on this roster for such a long time. I feel like whenever they're in Sacrifice against any team, you always feel like there's going to be a fighting chance because of just how consistently they play well together.
A hard-fought round, though, nonetheless. 8.5 minutes on the board was that one by the end, and still only 2 out of 3 rounds, though, so potentially 1 left for Myztro, but you know they're going to be really happy with that. One thing about the Myztro roster, especially like you said, right, the Hell, the Garpy, very passionate players. We saw them at the European regionals for QWC, and if there was one team that was making noise, that was making their feelings known, you know, via screaming and shouting in certain situations, it was Myztro. You know, they live and breathe Quake at the moment. They care a lot about this mode. So it's nice to see them have the success, but at the same time, Avengers, you know, we've seen them too at regionals. Like they know what it means to play at this level. But so far, Myztro taking the lead is huge for them, as it looks like they were able to get that first capture, which is, we've seen time and time again, very important, being able to decide the obelisk your team gets, and it looks like they actually won that little fight too. So the whole time building on this percentage.
Well, another important element is that basically every player in this match has tasted defeat in a serious setting in a Sacrifice game mode. So, you know, they're unlikely to be pressured by the situation that Demon's had. He's had the quad damage pretty much from start to finish, and he's done magical things with it. Oh no! Ever so slightly misses that rail, but
good
gets the
shot.
second one on Garpy. Yep, and now Razy's still alive. If he can snap that one shot, perhaps. No, doesn't quite get it.
I'm missing a couple of these crucial rails, but to be honest, not too punished, considering Avengers were able to take the soul during that time. However, dying there, if Myztro going in as a unit, it's going to be 3 versus 4. Oh dear.
The danger.
Win on those numbers, though.
The danger has been missing those 2 rails, or maybe even 3 rails, which could have been 3 clean kills. This is kind of why Myztro have been able to flood in at that exact moment after he died, because they were alive at the time quad was up. They could have died and it would have taken them a little bit more longer to get the weapons, to get the stack, and then go in, but because of that, they've got in a little bit quicker.
Or try and go in with the gauntlet, even though Myztro able to take the soul away. They did lose it almost immediately.
Oh, that's
However,
a 100
Garpy comes
damage.
in. And here with FaZe, the 2 of them together. But the Plasma Trail,
Oh, no.
Abzo. Plasma Trail is going to get that with that. Not even the explosion, just the lingering damage.
Oh, Phoenix could not be any weaker right there, and he will also fall to a Plasma Trail. One of the best abilities in this entire game for this game mode, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think that can really be contested at this point. That slash, the area denial, the damage of the Plasma Trail, the amount it speeds her up, I mean, it really is one of those one-size-fits-all abilities. Still, though, Demon has the soul, but look at how little health he has.
Hell knows he's going to be there, tries to pass. Can he get away? Mastermind with just a smidgen of health. Does manage to drop off.
Still able to secure it with only 9 health remaining. Very important. Oh, wow. Demon just stops FaZe dead in his tracks. And Avengers now taking that lead. Power up going to be up in a few seconds. You can know Mastermind is waiting for it. Just try to keep him off.
Oh! Bets everything on that telefrag, and I think that's quite an intelligent telefrag to go for. If he did manage to get it, it would have been protection. It would have been a Ranger with protection straight on the point. Probably would have been able to clean house, but it just didn't quite work out. And because of that, you can see Myztro piling in, all bodies on deck. And they've got plenty of protection left to go.
They do have protection here, though. They should have an easier time capturing it, but at the same time, Avengers, they did all respawn at the same time.
Oh!
Here, trying to stop him from getting around. And it actually looks like they haven't even been able to get the soul away from the point as yet. And Mastermind's going to take him down. Was there any protection left to take, though? That's the question. Doesn't look like it. That was a really good situation for Avengers, being able to stall out on that power-up as well as hold on to the soul for the majority of the time.
Avengers did a great job of, I think, just essentially holding off against a team with protection. It's not easy to do, and very rarely do we actually see it successful when they're able to defend. Most of the time, they'll just sort of pile in as a group, and there's not much you can do to stop them, but with Avengers, it wasn't really the case. Hell, before I can finish saying that, though, has been able to drop things off, but they've got lots of work. Avengers have quite a chunky lead at the moment.
Wow, Demon just tracking till the cows come home on that LG, but
another telefrag as well. I mean, he is not afraid.
I mean, it's safe to say that there's a big skill curve, that there's a big difficulty curve to really using Ranger at the highest level of play like this. But part of that comes from the difficulty of that telefrag. Being able to consistently land something like that on a moving target. Some targets are smaller than others, some are bigger. You know, some maps, you might have to do a prediction depending on the route they're taking to get away or move around. And it's so difficult to do that. But if you have the skill, if you have the ability to get those telefrags, you can just be just invaluable asset to your team. And that is currently what Demon is being to Avengers. Just on point all the time with these die robs. Crazy stuff.
This whole sequence, and they're just making their lead even bigger. We'll see very soon. 25% left to go. I feel like this could easily be a final round map. I mean, Avengers kind of have much more of a grasp on this round in comparison to last time. Hell has got quad damage, but he's in a plasma trail, so how long will he survive?
He's very weak though. Quad damage, but only has a shotgun. Wasn't really the best weapon to use in that situation. Oh, Phoenix turning FaZe into paste before his very eyes. Oh, that is, I'd say leave a mark. There's no marks left to leave, really.
Oh, and here comes Phoenix. I mean, he's still got lots of quad damage left. 5% left to go. I mean, even less at this point. I think that one quad damage, that one steal was pretty much sealed things here. It's going to be consistently outnumbered for Myztro, but if they don't prevent things now, they're likely to lose this round, and we're probably going to go into a final round. Garpy falls as well, and that's pretty much going to be all she wrote. It's going to be one round each so far.
A very evenly matched game, I think, just to say the least. Going into our final round on this first map, this is kind of what we expected to see. I mean, these are two teams that have been playing a lot of Sacrifice over the last few months, so seeing them meet up like this and lose a side no less too. And just to reiterate, only one team in Europe can actually qualify today, so these teams will understand what's on the line. They'll know what they're waiting for. In a few seconds time, we're going to get underway with the next round of the map, I should say at least, and looking for that 20-second spawn point. You don't want to die too close to it, you don't want to use your ability too close to it, but
some of these starts are quite interesting to me because there's actually no Nyx on either of these champion lineups, and she is usually, that was quite an interesting super nail gun 1v1 right there. But, oh no!
Wait, what happened?
I'm actually, I'm assuming,
like full damage.
I'm assuming
full damage
he must have shot the nail gun on the way down and just accidentally fired a little bit too early. But oh, here comes the Soul. FaZe has been able to secure things. We're going to switch things up. The obelisk will be in a different location.
But Myztro chose for it. I mean, knowing what obelisk to go for at the start is something that we weren't really, considering Sacrifice is like, you know, a newer game mode in the world of Quake. We weren't really 100% sure what to expect. You know, would some players and some teams favor certain sides to another? You know, certain obelisks to other ones.
I actually love how it was actually faster for Razy to just aim at the ground and blow himself up than manually kill himself in the menu.
Hey man, quad damage rocket to yourself does just as much damage to you as it does others. But early on in the game, it's like, well, like, you know, our team's going to prefer certain obelisks to other ones, but it seems to be that, you know, teams will kind of just go with whatever's closest. Because at any point, if you do lose that fight, and I've got to say, Hell doing so much work with his quad damage, good lord. But
oh, he's not quite able to finish off Abzo, but FaZe with the cleanup. But you were saying,
Demon flying in at full speed. But it's nice to see players and teams, they're not really being picky about the obelisks they go for now. You know, it really is a case of, we just need to go with whatever's closest. You know, we don't want to waste time, we haven't got seconds to spare. We just need to go with whatever we can get and hold on to it. And that seems to be the direction the teams are going to a degree, and it's working out for them. But it's going to be important to show that now. Myztro, they were able to win obelisk A when they took their round, but now they're going to have B.
Oh,
nice
direct rocket.
100 damage.
I mean, Hell has always been that not underrated, but he's been such an unsung hero of Myztro in these Sacrifice game modes. And I actually think it's actually particularly on this map. Like, he seizes the power up when he needs to take it. A lot of his kills are significant. His movement on Lockbox is sublime. Hell gets things done on Lockbox.
So they're able to contest the Soul, but ultimately couldn't get it away. That's going to be a recapture by Myztro. 40% to 0.
This is almost 50% already.
I know, and that's not what we really expected to see. They were able to drop it off again. And all this is happening, but between power-up spawns. Nice kill on that from Mastermind there with the rail. Another one, Hell and FaZe. I mean, this is it. Every single time Avengers get a frag, Myztro are responding with 2 or 3 themselves. Like, they're just not winning the fights here.
Yeah, the ratio is not in Avengers' favor, and we're on the verge of there being 60% versus nothing. This is a big turnaround of a result, and it's becoming a lot more difficult for them to try and make some kind of a comeback. Phoenix temporarily knocks himself off the point. The problem is actually kind of allowed Razy to be on there temporarily. Swooping in, getting the quad damage, but he will be public enemy #1. Razy now has quad damage, and with 30% left to go, Razy's one of the best duelers in the business, and now he has quad damage.
Ready to be able to get the Soul too. This is going to be a very difficult round for Avengers. They don't have quad, they don't have the Soul. It's going to be a long time before they get the next power-up opportunity. And Myztro have been winning the majority of these fights as it is.
But if they want to get quad now, they need to go as far in the base as physically possible. He's been able to be in the base now, but can he survive long enough? They've got the Soul. They have to make this one back as cleanly as possible, but I mean, just look at how many members of Myztro are waiting for them. Is this going to be even possible?
2-to-1 trade. Garpy's going to take it, but Demon trying to get through, has a lot of health here, but he is getting chased through everything possible, and FaZe is going to take him out. Take hold of the Soul 2, capture it again before Avengers can even get a single percent.
That was a crucial rail to miss as well. Kind of allowed FaZe to stay alive just that little bit longer and secure one more frag before going down. And it's 90%.
But Demon drops. We are seeing dead bodies left, right, and center. Myztro 92%, only have 8 left to go, and they are still holding it.
He does manage to somewhat, but no. Hell finishes things 1 more percent, and the Myztro boys will be 1 map up. You know they're going to want this lead. Trying to stay alive for as long as possible, but he goes down as well. Mastermind is the final champion to be taken out. And in a 2-1 result, but with a really dominant final round, Myztro go up 1 map in the series.
I mean, that was kind of the polar opposite to what we saw in round 1 and 2 there. Round 1 and 2, both of them relatively back and forth, but I think it's safe to say but each team that won the round was able to kind of like inch ahead towards the last sort of minute and a half, 2 minutes or so of the round. So it kind of went from even, long lead, somewhat even, and then an extended lead at the end for both round 1 and 2, to round 3 just being a complete stomp, 100% to 0. You don't see that happen too often, but happening at the end of a map like that after being so back and forth, do you think that was a momentum thing? Were Myztro able to just get an early lead and hold on to it? Do you think it was control? I mean, personally, I think it was control. Being able to get hold of the power-ups, doing more with them, but also getting that first Soul. I mean, it's a combination of everything important in the game mode, right? Making sure that your early round is good, so you get that first Soul, get the first power-up. That really sets a strong base for the rest of the round, because you basically dictate how the rest of the round is played. Because you either get control of both and get a big lead, or you get control of both and then end up losing it anyway, which is kind of showing, okay, right, guys, we have to get it together. Start of the round, we're not doing so well, you have to pull it back. But Myztro being good from the start of that one, just 100 to 0, very impressive.
One potential could have been when the obelisks switch round in that final round. I think when you have the first round, going into the second, when the obelisks remain the same, the objective and the way you sort of approach that round will be much like you just previously played, right? So the room for adaptation and how you sort of, I guess, change your style in the second round, going, right, guys, if the obelisks are exactly the same, how did we approach that last time? How did we work together to go in? How did we, even little things like how did we fight for power-up when we spawn on this side and not that side? You can learn from the first round in the second. Now, in the final round, when things switch really early, that room for adaptation on the fly becomes way smaller. So, for all we know, that the change in obelisk could have made a pretty significant difference, but it's not just going to be the obelisk that swaps now. It's going to be the map. Burial Chamber is going to be the second map pick today. Now, we have seen, actually talking of Ranger, Garpy's the one that is the variable change. Does he go in? No, he goes Doomslayer again. So, like last week when we saw Garpy change champion every single map, he's gone Doomslayer twice in a row now. So has he thrown that out of the window? Is he going to go clutch on Ruins if we have that map? Or is he going to go Doomslayer 100%? Has he changed things up in the span of 1 week?
It seems like he spent this week just playing Doomslayer. And considering consistency seems to be... it's hard to say, right? Because I would say that consistency has kind of been showing through as a bit more of a success ratio over the last couple of weeks or so, considering, we would see that sometimes a lot in Sacrifice and Duel, that the map would dictate the composition more so than the mode or just the meta of the game itself. Whereas now we are sort of approaching that time that teams are very much sticking comfortably with a roster of the same kind of 4 champions. Myztro haven't been unsuccessful the last couple of weeks, but they haven't been, winning tournaments. They've been placing well, but not winning them. And the teams that have been winning have been sticking to those compositions of those same 4 champions. So maybe Myztro sort of, trying to take an inspirational leaf out of the book of the winning teams so far. And to be honest, it's working out for them. They are a map up currently. They are still quite a way through into this tournament. They're getting to the late stages of the bracket. So we'll have to wait and see if they can remain consistent once again with this Doomslayer pick.
We only have 20 seconds left on this warm-up, so the time to sort of discuss and chat tactics between the teams is going to be a little bit less now, but Burial Chamber is always a really interesting map, I find, because there's so much movement, and now we're seeing so many people pick those light, agile champions 100% of the time. I feel like this map really allows those fast champions like Anarchy to just run rampant, build up a lot of speed using the open space that they have. The power-up location is very difficult to fight for because it is so out in the open and risky in some cases. But here we go. This could potentially be our final map. Myztro, I mean, they're in this losers bracket. They want to move forward, but so does Avengers.
I think they're right. Razy used that jumping pad, realizing that Demon only really had a rocket to go in that situation. Rocket can be quite hard to hit an airborne target sometimes. Razy going to take that first soul, trying to throw it away, but just gets completely mauled by the entirety of Avengers. And that's probably going to be a capture unless they can stop him, but unlikely. It's going to be a safe activation on Obelisk B for Avengers to start things off.
Now check out the change for Avengers. No soul lag. Instead, I believe it's actually, yeah, Demon going in for Nyx. Now, we didn't see Nyx on the previous map, and things were a little bit different at the very beginning of the map, where she's so good at seizing power-ups, she's so good at seizing the soul when it appears. But speaking of power-ups, FaZe has quad damage. They have to try and really sort of try and push this together, but even with quad damage, Aniki's going to be quite vulnerable to those rails if they have them available. Oh, Demon surprised.
Yeah, FaZe is going to have to be careful here. He doesn't have the health really to fight, despite having that quad damage. But the thing is, even though Avengers are winning right now, it remains to be seen if that lack of Sorlag is going to hurt them, because Sorlag being one of those very versatile champions, you know, an amazing defender, one of the best defending champions in the game, thanks to Aerie Denar, you know, spraying acid at key power-ups or key points. Phoenix going to get a nice frag there, but the lack of a Sorlag and not really having the beefy numbers in those big fights could hurt them. However, it doesn't look like that's the case at the moment, as Avengers are comfortable. 35. Oh my lord!
How many of these are we going to see today? Because obviously last time it was Demon, but now it's Phoenix. You know, they've now got two fantastic rangers behind their back.
I mean, and I cannot stress the difficulty of hitting a Telefrag Dire Orb versus some of the smallest targets in the game when they are moving at a professional level like this. I mean, it is one of the hardest things to do in the game, is hit a Dire Orb on a moving target. But
only one person looking to head off Hell, though, so he's going to be outnumbered ridiculously. No, can't quite survive. Almost actually gets a suicide there, but 6 health left.
Now, a big thing here, now we're going to see if the lack of Sorlag is going to make a big difference, because it looks like Myztro having access to Razy on that Sorlag means they are going to be able to defend very well here now. They have access to a lot of health between them. The acid could be a big deal if Razy is in the right position for it. Ghostwalk is popped there from Avengers, trying to keep themselves alive, is hanging around the point, still very low, but very dangerous. Everyone low at the point now. This could be a frag. Abso here trying to take it away. They've stolen the soul, now can they safely get it through?
Garpy doesn't really have a huge amount to try and fight that one, actually kind of sticking to the rail. If those rails miss and you're surrounded, there's only so long you can survive for. Razy gets surrounded. Phoenix with the... Oh, that was not a telefrag, but it was a Dire Orb.
That was a Dire Orb, just like impact frag. That wasn't the same. It's still impressive, but wasn't quite the same. Still though, I mean, imagine getting 2 immediately like that. How great would that be?
Power up is in play. Myztro have access to it, but what we saw last time, where the quad went in Myztro's favor, it went in the hands of FaZe, who wasn't really able to get anything going because he was consistently too weak to fight. Even with the quad damage, it didn't really matter. Now they've got protection. If Razy can drop this one off, it'll be much better off for them.
The thing about protection is, like, you really can't stop someone with protection from you know, capturing that soul. If they're holding onto it, you're not really going to stop them from putting it down. You can, however, slow them down. You can make it take them longer. You can make it that once they've dropped it off, you know, do you force them to fight? Do you try and, you know, outnumber them? But in this sort of situation, where it's looking relatively even-ish, I know that Avengers do have the lead so far, but it looks like Myztro are doing a good job sort of keeping hold of the soul. However, as I say that, Abso is able to stop them from capturing it. Right now using this mobility, because that's one thing Avengers will have. Even if they haven't got a Sorlag and they've sort of, you know, replaced it with someone a little bit faster, I suppose. They haven't got the numbers of health, but they have the mobility. But he is going to get taken down there, and Garpy off-maps the soul, just trying to reset it, and it's now going to respawn back in the center of the map.
I mean, even though Abso went down, that movement sequence with Slash was very, very clean. Here comes Myztro. Oh, they get another one. Mastermind goes down.
He did drop off the soul first, though, so it did stall Myztro for a few seconds. Pops the Berserk, trying to move as fast as possible. He sees red. Can he see the point?
Can he get away in time? 25 health left. Oh! Almost died.
There's 3 people here trying to stop him, but oh, Hell comes in with the gauntlet again. But Phoenix, that super shotgun, doing so much damage. And it looks like, oh no, Hell's going to get one of the frags. Did he drop in the end? Was FaZe here ready to
I mean, they're just consistently trading these back and forth. Myztro, they're on the verge of tying things up, but I do actually love that idea where we saw Garpy just activate his Berserk mode. Even though it doesn't necessarily give Doomslayer a speed boost, it just kind of just puts him at his top speed instantly. That faster acceleration, that close range is really super useful.
He popped the plasma trail to try and get through, but he just went into the wall at full speed and just stopped moving. Unfortunate, but that's actually a really good sequence. They've now got the soul and the quad damage. This is best case scenario.
I mean, they cleaned house. They pretty much took out every single member of Myztro just then, and they were rewarded with the quad. But here comes Razy with just the melting acid. Oh dear, he's got plenty of health left. He's going to take damage from the Dire Orb, but survive temporarily. Demon finishes the job. Hell with the super shotgun. I mean, that's one of the most dangerous combinations. Super shotgun plus quad damage. I mean, no one can survive.
Oh, he was being chased, but Mastermind with that point blank shotgun damage phase, getting one of his own. But again, looks like, oh no, commit suicide, but Hell is there ready to pick up immediately. A big thing in Myztro are very rarely being caught out by themselves. It's almost like pairs of two at all times. Still though, Demon going to get a nice kill there. Hell isn't quite able to do much.
A very crucial rail to miss that one. I mean, especially on a Nyx. That was before the heavy armor was picked up too.
Is it going to be Mega Health? Wow, yeah, Demon able to get both Mega Health and Heavy Armor and the Soul. I can't really see him not being able to drop this off.
2 frags though, that's going to allow Myztro to begin the push. Mace takes a huge chunk of damage trying to go in. Oh, walks into the Plasma Trail, takes a huge amount of damage. That's very unfortunate.
Absolutely still trying to stop, but it's going to go down immediately. Was vastly outnumbered, but Phoenix getting another telefrag. Garpy spawned, but the Soul still on Avengers' side.
Looks like Myztro kind of have a hard time. It's one of those locations where the two obelisks are vastly different. You know, this is a lot more open space. Speaking of which, open season for the rails for someone like Hell to sort of just clean up right there. But on the flip side, the obelisk A, you know, the one that Myztro are currently holding, very short range, a lot of walls closing off, which is actually going to allow a champion like Sorlag to be a little bit more open, because the second they put a foot in, he can either, you know, or she can either deny the entryway with the acid, or just simply just put it near the obelisk, and there's not much room to actually navigate around it.
But that's going to be a safe capture. Avengers were able to do a lot of work though. FaZe has the protection. Now, are Myztro going to be able to hold on for longer than a few seconds now? Because at the moment, they've been consistently getting the soul back, but Avengers have been doing a great job of just almost immediately taking it away. But now they have the protection. They do have a lot more equipment to actually hold on to it now.
I mean, Anarchy is going to be able to stay airborne, taking minimal damage along the way. Rocket Launcher being such a popular weapon in Sacrifice on the point. If he's going to be airborne, he's going to be taking a lot less of that damage because he's not going to eat the splash. Just like that, Mastermind is taken out. With plenty of the protection, it was really useful for him to get that free percentage. And look how much of a lead they're starting to take. I mean, they're almost tying things up just like that.
They are contesting the point. You know that FaZe doesn't exactly want to take the soul away. He's trying to run. Mastermind tried to get as much distance as he can, but still dies anyway. Is FaZe be able to drop this off?
That was a nice little juke right there. I like that. Going left, making sure they could see you go left, and then through the wall just turn around.
But that one sequence has given Myztro at least tying things up, and now they've taken the lead. Just like
FaZe is just
one defense.
Running rings around every member of the Avengers right there. Just building up the speed, jumping around, being hard to pinpoint. And he's still got a nice amount of rockets. He's got 3 left. I think that too, but almost every rocket he has fired has been super significant.
Mastermind got the frag on him, but still he has the numbers here. Mastermind trying to take the soul away. Hell drops.
Oh, the rail misses!
Very healthy still, throwing the soul away. Oh no, tries to get it in the air, but he does miss. FaZe is still trying to move it through. Even if he dies now, he was able to drop it off, which has massively slowed down the Avengers. When you're this close to the end of the round, you can't afford to be held back by a few seconds.
Yeah.
Myztro, 99%.
I wonder if that fumble toss is going to be the difference between Avengers winning and losing. We'll have to wait and see. We're moments away. Mastermind with 2 health.
Oh,
no doubt.
Soul off him too. FaZe just needs to drop this off immediately.
Oh no!
They need to pour everything they can now. But
there's no one there!
They can't do it.
That is very unfortunate for them. They just don't have the bodies needed to pile into that obelisk, and that was it. 1% was all that was required. They do the job. Myztro Gaming now on match point in this losers bracket. If they win this round, they will be eliminating Avengers.
I mean, that was a very appropriate round considering how the set has gone so far between these guys. You know, let's think back to Lockbox map 1 though. The round number 1 of that was even, and then Myztro pulled ahead at the end. Round 2, even, and then Avengers pulled ahead. And then round 3 was very one-sided. That was a very more reminiscent round of how the earlier rounds went between these guys. Now, can they keep that up, though? Now Myztro are this 1 round away from winning the series. Avengers, they have their work out for them to the max now. This is losers bracket action. If they want to make it the Dreamhack Winter, they cannot afford to drop this round. But Myztro are looking very good to taking this one, too, as just like that, right? Hell may have fallen, but the entirety of the team of Myztro were there ready to wait and pick up the pieces.
Well, they've been able to get the drop off. There was just a nice amount of coordination there, but they piled in so heavily to drop this off. Have they got enough bodies to try and fight for the power-up? We'll take a look and see where this next fight takes place.
Garpy, though. Can we talk about that for a second?
I mean, that was very impressive. it's going to allow them to just take free percentage on the point, even though now Avengers do have quad damage. Garpy does get one rocket unchallenged. Mastermind has been unable to get the job done at all. No frags!
Uh-oh, he's just given quad damage to Myztro as well. That is not what you want to do.
And this is going to be, if they don't challenge this will be at least 30%. If you get a good start and then you get the power up, it's always going to be at least 30%.
We said before, right, the importance of getting a good start in the round, getting the first soul, getting the first power up. Myztro got the first soul, Avengers got the first power up, but they lost it immediately and gave it away in the process. Still though, Avengers, if they can get the people here, which they have done the entire team, they can salvage that mistake. They can bring this back. Myztro, I mean, only able to get 34%. I know that is still a significant amount, but can hold on to it for a lot of time, but no, they couldn't even drop it off. FaZe was there ready and waiting. And he's picking up health along the way, making this as difficult as possible.
I think actually getting that one speck of health was what kept him alive right there. But I feel like at the very beginning of that point, what allowed Mastermind, or allowed Garpy to actually win that 1v1 of Mastermind was just using that pillar. You know, if that pillar was not there, it was likely Garpy was going to get taken out, but it was just an amazingly well-played 1 versus 1. But Garpy will have that element. I mean, he's used to the 1v1.
What a rail, point blank from Garpy, going to the rocket trying to win this.
Oh, no!
Oh, he got the injection, but wasn't quite enough. Didn't have any armor, and a rocket is a rocket, my friend.
I mean, the only bonus Mastermind's going to take from that is that now he's got 1 extra hit point, and that's it. Oh! Trying to pile in onto the point, but the defense has been 2 on point so far. FaZe with the cleanup on Abzo, and it's 50%. Half the work's already been done. It's been a very quick round. Will it be another 100-0?
I'm not sure. They're doing everything they can to not make it the case, but they just can't get the soul away. The few times they have been able to, they've been stopped even at the very end. Myztro have just been where they need to be all the time. Abso has the soul, but there's so much damage coming through. I mean, look, it looks like they're making it so difficult to decide where do we go, what direction do we throw this, who's ready to pass. Like, Myztro is just smothering them in pressure so far. Oh my lord, and that was a long distance rocket too. That was just a prediction and a half. And the protection goes towards FaZe as well. Myztro have the protection as well.
Oh no!
It's so difficult for Avengers now. Cross that halfway point. 65% and counting. And the protection. I mean, this is going to be tough for Avengers. There's no getting around it. This will be a difficult loss to play for.
And while these frags line up, FaZe has injection. I mean, he was able to pop that, just giving it a little bit of extra. As these guys pile in, it's going to allow him to just completely finish the job. 80% has almost been reached. Avengers yet to take a single tick.
Hang on, this is good. Avengers, they have 3 people here. They've taken the soul, but Garpy is
Oh no!
Gauntlet, 2 gauntlet kills. Oh my days, the Doomslayer slaying everything in front of him. And now 85% and still going.
I mean, they respawn pretty far away too. I mean, even the time it takes for them to go from where they respawn to the point is going to be like a guaranteed 3% at least. And at this percentage, you don't want to give them anything, but it's looking so difficult for them. If Abzo gets at least one of these, perhaps, but it's just looking harder and harder. FaZe with the cleanup. No, gauntlets connect. 1% left. It's going to be 100% versus 0. Myztro Gaming will move on in this loser's bracket, and Avengers have been eliminated.
Myztro are like, you know what they seem to be like, right? They seem to be those. Have you ever played a game, those games where the bosses have like multiple health bars? And like, the longer it goes on, the more difficult to beat they become. Is that Myztro right now?
I definitely know what you're saying, because it's simply the way Myztro approach these team modes, or it's not even the Myztro team as a whole, it's the Myztro players like Garpy, like Hell, and even like players like Vu who plays on a Myztro too. It's the longer the tournament goes on, they seem to start playing better. You know, they can have maybe a rough start in duel or sacrifice, but as the tournament starts to progress, the best we are inevitably going to see them play are those final games where they're warmed up, they're pumped up, and they're starting to feel it again. And I think that with the second round there being a snowball compared to the first round, I think it really shows that among the Myztro roster, where it just takes them a while to get going, but when they reach that point, very few players in the world seem to be able to touch them.
And that's kind of reigning true. Both maps were the same. The last rounds of those games, I mean, case in point, map number 1. First one, slow start, ended up being good for Myztro. Second one, slow start, ended up being good for Avengers. And then third round, the adaptation was made, and it was just a complete wash. Same thing this time. Round 1, a lot closer. Round 2, very one-sided. Myztro just seemed to be slow at the start, but once they reach that peak and they start playing as well as we know they can do, I mean, like you said, right, it seems very hard to stop them in that situation. And they're going to be moving on in the loser's side of the bracket because of it.
Well, we'll be getting our next match underway. The pressure is starting to ramp up, and we're getting closer and closer to that grand finals to find out who's going to qualify for Dreamhack Winter. While we get our next match underway, we're going to go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere, because Quake champions will be